Crazy.
So now you DJing, right? So when did you get into thinking that you could start doing your own promotion and stuff for nightlife when you created Famous in Bushwick?
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice. I had to.
Backed in the corner?
It wasn't so much backed in the corner. It was sink or swim.
Right.
Adapt or, not. And I needed to create a lane and a pathway for, like, myself and the things that, like, held value to me.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm in a situation. The situation I'm in now isn't bad. I could say if I wanted to be in New York full time again, I would be somewhat comfortable.
Yeah.
There would be a strategy and ability to be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
And that'd be okay, but like you're only working for $1 after a certain point in time. When I got to Famous in Bushwick, it took me away just from working for money. It's like, I got this thing I could share it with my friends.
Right.
Facts.
Before I was downtown. So I'm playing all these clubs downtown that my crowd of people, the individuals I like to socialize with, aren't able to go to. So that was really kind of why I did Famous in Bushwick in the first place. It was like a necessity for me to be able to want to have like my own party.
Bring the party to me, yeah.
Because most people aren't going to come to Manhattan with me. You know what I mean? Like that was always kind of like my thing. Even when I was a kid, like I had friends, I'd be out here 16, 15 years old. And like my whole life I would come to the city. So I knew the city very well.
Right.
So I'm out here. I'm chilling and I'm moving around.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing was always to go to the city. A lot of people didn't want to go to the city. They just want to chill and hang around the neighborhood. That's not their thing.
Yeah.
That was always my thing. I like to be in Manhattan. I like to be downtown.
Shit, that was our shit. Like, we would get up out of there. I think because I was exposed to the city and downtown, shit, even the promenade young, I used to tell them, like, yo, we out. Like, we go in the city and walk.
Just walk across the bridge and shit.
We used to ride our bikes across the bridge. I knew where I was going. I knew all I had to do was just, if we went uptown or midtown, just ride back down. We gonna run into a bridge. We be all right. But a lot of people around us, even our ages, they want to leave Brooklyn. They want to leave the hood.
Yeah.
They want to.
It's like that everywhere you go. People don't like to leave where they at. That's kind of why I got out of New York for a little bit right now. It's just, I need to shake things up.
So when did you start Famous in Bushwick?
Oh, like 2013. Around 2013, I started that.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know why I think of earlier.
The 2010s just flew by. That's
flew
why.
By.
The
It was 2013.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 09, probably 2010. That's what I thought you were gonna say.
It was 2013. And when I first started that, I started it in the Loom. Like, I go out, get my own keg.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
I remember
set up
those
shop.
early days, yeah.
I would just set up shop in the back of the Loom with my boys. Like, they own the print shop. I went and seen them before I came over here. I stopped by. I wasn't even living in Bushwick at the time. I was uptown. And I would wake up every day at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. I would get on the train. I'd come to Brooklyn and hang out.
That long ass ride.
And I would just chill. I would be in the print shop hanging out. And at the time when it was in the Loom and it was on Flushing, it was just like kind of like the perfect time with everything kind of brewing at the moment. People really started getting really interested into like the whole Bushwick thing. And there were a lot of venues.
Starting up.
Because that's where it was heavily
Bushwick Open Studios was happening.
Nah, a lot of artistry happens in Bushwick.
Nah, there was.
Yeah, a lot of artistry happens.
But they had the space and the right location to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They
got the
transformed
laws.
a lot of them warehouses into malls, man.
Yeah.
That's all that was back there. If you wasn't in Darkside or right up on Knickerbocker, anything on the outskirts of Bushwick was warehouses. So they take them there. That's why I like what they did. Graffitied all that shit up.
Yeah.
And so
I
like
was
you
just
said,
watching a
2013,
dude tag a wall last night.
2013 is when it started to peak up. And I always...
There were good parties, like 538 Johnson had good parties. Loft Boys there was this clique of kids, Loft Boys. They used to do parties over there, but the punk kids are known for their parties over there.
Yeah.
That shit is 530. It is like a world of its own.
Yeah, it is. All back.
It was.
All back.
So-
It's still, I think it's just even more intense now.
There's a few lofts like McKibben lofts, like that shit is mad nice now. That shit used to be that shit used to be like Party House or whatever. The movie Party Animal with John Belushi. That shit was crazy. They was going hard over
frat
there.
house, yeah.
That shit was like a fucking frat house, but like artsy kids and shit walking around with paint all over.
So
them.
what was your, when you got established, what was your main spot that you was doing in Bushwick?
Tandem.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember how to get there on a drunk night, walking.
Tandem, that was a blessing. That was
I
a
like
blessing.
that
I didn't
spot.
know that could work. My friend Rosie, she was at the time she's the assistant Patricia Fields. She was her admin. And she had the store on Bowery, Pat Fields. She's like an icon in like the gay community, and she's a really well-known stylist. She styled Sex and the City and like Ugly Betty. Those
Dope.
were like her two big projects.
Dope.
Right.
She
And
still
one
getting
of-
paid off that.
One of the hats ended up in the store, and that's how I met Rosie. Hanging around the neighborhood, she see my hat at the store. Cause Steve, my boy from Silkies, who did the logo, he created the famous in Bushwick
Shout
logo.
out to Silkies. They did the first logos to the Don Corn D. Dricanhippie show merch. You know, shout out to them.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So those are the homies. That's fam right there. And Steve did the logo, and he was the first one to like. They started printing the shirts for me. Like they just did that shit on the arm on the string.
This nigga, yo, at one point, bro, every train you went on, every bus you got on, somebody had a hat or a shirt on, bro. Famous in
The
Bushwick.
sticker was
The
everywhere.
sticker,
The
that's
sticker
what I was
was
about to
everywhere.
say. The sticker,
The sticker
was,
was heavy.
everywhere. Every time I look at that shit, and that's when I was drinking heavy, I'd be like,
Nah, I had that
"This
shit
nigga
out.
Jay." This nigga Jay.
I had help though. I had a lot of
I
of
already
friends that
know.
put up for me and shit.
Hell yeah.
Like
I
mad
already
friends,
know.
because we would give the stickers out at the party.
Shit, I put it.
Everybody
That's what I
wanted
said.
the
That shit,
stickers,
you
so-
you built a big community with that. You know what I'm saying? You had a
Yeah.
lot of support with people helping you maneuver. When you couldn't be here, there was somebody there for you. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, it was like that. Because I went out to LA in the middle of it for a little bit.
And
That's
they
how I
was
met
still
Napkin
rocking.
Killer.
that's
Because I was in LA. I was on.
Shout out to
I was on
Napkin
the-
Killer. That's
that's my
that
boy.
nigga. Right?
I was on Instagram, and I just seen his work, and I was just like, yo, you want to rock my party and shit.
Yeah, I
He,
got
like,
I
sent
gotta
some
get him
number,
on the show.
Yeah, we sure do.
And
We sure
I was
do.
like, cool, I'll pay that. And he came through. I talked to him on the phone. I had just gotten to LA. And he's like, yeah, I'm from LA. I'm from the Valley. I was like, cool, I'll be out here in LA. And I never even met him. Only had spoken to him on the phone. I didn't meet him until I flew back to New York like a month and a half later. And then I met him, and then we just became friends.
I'll
It
tell
was
you how
just chill.
crazy it is with Napkin Killer. First found out about him. Jay, right? Jay introduces him to Press, right? Him and Press go out to Cali for Complex Con,
Yeah, I remember that.
right? A few years later, maybe short years, probably 2 years later, I see him with Gooey. With Noel. I'm like, yo. He was at a few battles.
Niggas be
I'm like,
everywhere.
yo, boy. Like,
Niggas be
he's
everywhere.
just connecting to everybody around me, bro.
Spence
Like,
really loves, like,
Spence
he's
is
another
that
one.
dude, man.
He's a damn, my bad. He really truly is about like the culture. He really gives a fuck about his art.
I love that.
You know,
nigga, bro.
he's a funny guy, which is
Yeah.
good. Like it's like you need people like Spencer as well. Like he knows how to bring like a lot of lightheartedness to
Yeah.
He'll make a
You know,
dark
some-
room light
yeah.
as
He's that
soon as
kind
he
of
steps in
person.
there. Yeah, I love his
Yeah,
art
it
though.
it shouldn't be no drama when he around.
And to be that specific,
Good
to be
people.
like,
Nah, I got mad wild memories.
To be
with
that
dude.
specific, to
when
be
he
like, yo,
turned up.
I'm doing art on napkins. Like that's
Nah,
crazy.
he draws.
That shit.
And he does his
Oh,
own.
nasty.
He got his cartoons and shit. I really see. I definitely see him like getting to that point. Like he'll have his show.
Nah,
I
he
know
need
will.
that. He need that. Even
I
doing the
definitely
voice
feel
of
that
one
for
of the
him.
They gonna
characters.
have it. They gonna have mad at his napkins
He
in the
should
whole
actually make
in a museum.
him a cartoon. The character,
Yeah.
raise his head.
Facts.
It'd be crazy. He'd be
Facts.
the new Homer Simpson.
He brings a good vibe. He's good people.
I just had to say that. I thought that was
So, so how long did Famous in Bushwick last?
I had like a good 5-year run, I'd say, which is kind of a good squeeze in New York. You know what I mean? To get 5 years out of a party in New York is pretty good, especially at the level I was at. That was a good stretch. That was really local, really in Brooklyn.
And you caught it at the right time, like you were saying.
It really was like
The movement that was happening in that area.
It wasn't what it is now. Like the way they got it now is very.
I know you come through
corporate.
Now, like,
there was no artichoke pizza on the corner and stuff, and that's cool. Artichoke pizza's there now, whatever. But
it wasn't that. You was out there. It was still
like 14th Street went all the way into the hood now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
they pristine.
But it's cool because there's still a lot of things that are local to the neighborhood that are still on the strip.
Right.
That's a fact, though.
So it has its balance. At first, you look at it and you're like, damn, yo, what the fuck?
Like that little record shop still on Bushwick and Jefferson.
Yeah.
They still there. They still be rocking like every Thursday. They be having like day parties now.
So do you feel like you kind of like help push what that Bushwick scene is now?
I don't feel the need to take any kind of credit in any way.
Well, I'm gonna give it
like
that. Credit.
For me, it was more about. It was really about my friends. You know what I mean? Like for me, it was truly about my friends. It's about having an experience with my friends. I wanted my friends to have the same experience I had when I went downtown. Like I wanted everyone to have that experience because
bring that shit home.
You go downtown and it's for a certain. It's no secret. It's for a certain person.
Yeah.
And
you gave us access to that.
There's a bunch of it that it's not personal. It's really just business. But when you're young, like, and you're me. I wasn't grasping that concept, so I didn't really get into the whole fanfare of it all. It was hard for me to grasp that concept. There was other things going on that made me not really like cling to it like that.
But you're the one creating the world.
I danced with my first drunk white girl at one of your parties.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That would have never happened with the clubs I was going to.
I was smoking with a white chick at that roof party I went to with you that time.
Like you exposed us to that. Like
I remember the one time me, Carlos, Manny, I think he was there. I was doing these loft parties for these kids.
I was at that one.
And they paid me in mushrooms. I was just like, I took them shit. I was like, fuck it.
Them motherfuckers gave
me a little bread and like 2 ounces of mushrooms.
Them motherfuckers gave us the ball of Rice Krispies. Yeah. Infused. I was done that night, bro. We was finished. We was all done, bro. It was over. I don't know how niggas got home. Anything. I'm like, yo. The only thing I remember about that night is the loft.
I think I had them rock or some shit.
I don't even remember, bro.
But I remember the one party we did at Radio Bushwick. We were this is when I first started to branch out before Tandem, like when I first left the Loom. And Rosie it was the first party I did with Rosie. And my boy Pizza at the time, he was still involved. We had done, we did a party at Bossa Nova, which is crazy because they don't do any type of hip hop or anything we were doing. We did like a whole art party with live body painting. My homegirl came up from Philly and did the live body painting for me.
I'm about to do a show, an event like that.
You met Naoki, right?
Yeah.
At Tech's crib. So Tech, that's his homie Naoki. He did the painting, and my boy Nick did the videography for that shit. So we had like the whole team involved on that.
Yeah.
And we did that at Bossa Nova, and that was a good party. And then we tried to do another party afterwards. That was the party that Pizza didn't do or whatever. Like he bailed on us last minute. The venue bailed on me last minute, everything. And Rosie just happened to know the new owner of the new bar that opened up. This is when they didn't have Troutman and what is that? Wyckoff built up like that.
Yeah.
Like when Radio Bushwick was there, still Lot 45 wasn't even open yet. And they just started doing the Bushwick Collective. Like Joe Ficarola just started doing the paintings.
I remember
they wasn't doing
that.
the murals before that.
No.
It wasn't doing it before that. And then Radio Bushwick went up. Like, you didn't have the beer garden. None of that shit was there. There was the tortilla factory. Everyone like going to the tortilla factory to bring your own beer. You can have tacos and all that shit.
Yeah, it was still gritty back then, man.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Now it's like real. Like they got mad coffee shops. You did have I like the one spot, I forget what it's called, but they got the deviled eggs. Them shit is good. Fucks with that shit.
And for some reason, every coffee shop I go into, and I don't drink coffee. I just go in there to see what's happening in there. You know what I'm saying? I just walk in there. And every coffee shop I walk into, for some reason, they got like 2 or 3 crates full of vinyl.
Yeah,
I'm like, what's this about? What's the correlation? Is it because y'all in Bushwick or something like that?
Nah, it's a yuppie thing. They need to do that. It's like a marketing ploy.
They try to bring people in, right, and shit like that.
They know that their customer base enjoys vinyl, so they want to have that in there. Like,
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Engage them. You know, a reason for them to stop and look and want to do more.
We need you back. We need you back in town a little more than part time. Then you see what we doing. We trying to do events like that and shit too now. You know what I'm saying? So
no, you gotta do them. You just keep
gems.
doing them. You keep doing them. That's the key to it. Is to not stop. There's all different ways to doing it, but the consistency is the most important thing when it comes to doing events, especially if you're gonna get into like event branding. You gotta stay consistent. Like, just keep doing it and doing it. You gotta stay on top of like your mailing list. Like, these are things I didn't really implement.
Oh, okay.
At the time, you know, I built a lot just off of good faith,
right?
Which is always a good way to operate.
That's how I feel like. That's how I feel like. But I try to put a little more stern into it, you know what I'm saying? Like you saying, like make it a little more professional, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you should always.
You know what I mean? So
I was high as fuck when Jimmy got there.
Yeah, I mean, smoke your weed and do your thing, but like be on top of your business.